Hey everyone, welcome to season 3. This is Shauna.
And this is Rosalina, and we're your hosts for Too Young for This Shit podcast. This podcast is not just about boobs, but our journey with cancer. We are young millennials, open about giving you our raw and unfiltered look into our lives. We are in no way medical professionals, nor are we offering medical advice. Any medical references are cited directly from public websites or from our personal diagnosis. Some topics and stories may be triggering to those who are fighting, have fought, or have loved someone with cancer.
Hey, this is Shauna. Welcome back. We've hit the midway mark of these special mini episodes. And again, just want to say how grateful we are for all the incredible submissions and all the amazing people who have taken the time to participate. This week, we are highlighting some Previvors in the community. We asked the question, what is it like to be a Previvor? What advice would you give to those who have just found out about their gene mutation? Here are the amazing voicemails we received.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Hey, listeners of the Too Young for This Shit podcast. My name is Vanessa Federico. I am 30 years old and live just north of Boston, Massachusetts. I found out that I was a Previvor when I was 24 years old, and I tested for the BRCA1 gene mutation on my 24th birthday. And so over the last 6 years, I've been doing surveillance, going to appointments, and then finally took the leap this past summer to undergo a prophylactic double mastectomy with reconstruction. And so if you find yourself testing positive for a gene mutation because your family has a history of cancer, just know that it's going to be okay to take a deep breath, take it one day at a time, and just know that you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't have to have it all figured out by tomorrow. And that when you're ready, you have options. You have options laid out in front of you. You have the ability to ask questions, find out more information, be empowered by your decision. But I want to let you know that it's okay to grieve this news too, because it's heavy and it's a lot, but you're going to be okay and you're not alone. You've got this.
For me, being a Previvor has evoked a lot of complex emotions. Fear, I think, being the biggest one. It's really hard for me to know I have this gene that's killed so many of my family members. And I've seen so many relatives that are still here have such ugly battles with breast and ovarian cancer. Even though I'm scared, I'm also thankful that I had the opportunity to get genetically tested, because not everybody was always able to do that. And now I'm able to make informed decisions based on knowing that I'm BRCA1 positive. And I'm also so thankful for the breasties community that has welcomed me with open arms and given me so much insight on stuff that doctors would never tell me. The best advice I could give to somebody who just found out that they have a genetic mutation is to remember that they are in the driver's seat. I think when somebody finds out that they have a genetic mutation, a lot of people have a lot to say in regards to decision making and early screening versus preventative surgeries. But at the end of the day, only you are in charge of what you do, and you know your body best, and don't let anybody else make you think otherwise.
It's empowering to be a Previvor. Knowing I can reduce my risk of multiple types of cancer through prophylactic surgeries and routine imaging helps me gain a sense of control over my potential health outcomes when I felt like my risk of cancer was uncontrollable pre-BRCA1 diagnosis. The Previvor community has been beyond welcoming since day one, and while I know the Previvor label is not for everyone, I'm proud to call myself a Previvor as I try to reduce the odds genetically stacked against me. My advice to people who just learned about their genetic mutations would be to not be afraid of asking questions. I'm still learning as I go, and you can't know everything on day one. Information is always changing too. I'd also recommend reaching out for peer or community support because you're never alone. Lastly, I'd like to urge the newly informed to listen to survivors/thrivers and their lived experiences, because while we may relate to them in terms of imaging or surgeries, we don't have the exact same firsthand experiences and should hold space for them when it's time to amplify their voices.
Hi,
This is Elizabeth Varney, and I am a Previvor. Right before Christmas last year, I got the call of my positive BRCA2 results. In July, I underwent a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy with tissue expanders. And in December, I'm scheduled to have my deep flap reconstruction. What's it like being a Previvor? The two words I use and will continue to use is empowering and grateful. I had the option to make decisions about my body. I reduced my lifetime risk of breast cancer from 87% to less than 5% from this one surgery. Knowledge really is power. If you just found out about a gene mutation, here's my advice. You're going to feel so overwhelmed by all the information, be mentally and emotionally exhausted, and probably a little stressed. You don't have to make decisions right away. That's the beauty about knowing about this. Ask all the questions. Bring someone with you to your appointments to have a second set of ears. If you don't like a surgeon, seek out second opinions or more if needed. Advocate for yourself. You will have to, and hey, you may find your voice because of it. And lastly, find a community of others going through similar situations. I found that in the breasties, and I couldn't be more grateful. I know I've made lifelong friendships because of it. Remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Thank you to these brave humans who took the time to leave us a message. We loved hearing your thoughts and sharing your advice with the community. We can't wait to share more messages as they come in. Just a reminder, we are still looking for submissions. So for our next episode, which is airing next Friday, we want to hear from all the cancer survivors out there. What is it like to be a survivor? What advice would you give to those who have been diagnosed? You can follow the link in our show notes or in our Instagram bio to leave us a message. A very special thanks to our podcast producer, Bethany Allard, and our podcast editor, Ayla Anderson.
Thank you all for listening and supporting our podcast. Sharing our stories with you has been incredibly healing for both of us, and we hope it helps other women in their journeys through breast cancer.
Ladies, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and fellow breasties. Help us reach more women by subscribing and rating us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram at TYFTS Podcast and email us at tyftspodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys, so shoot us a message. We will link any resources from the episode in our show notes.